Gentlemen No Class is proud to be a part of the HC Universal Network. Gentlemen No Class is produced and recorded at M5 Studios and is mixed and edited by Final Curtain Media.
This podcast contains explicit language and is intended for adult audiences. The views and opinions of Gentlemen No Class are strictly for comedic purposes and should not be taken literally. For instance, like this disclaimer. Now grab yourself a pint and enjoy.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Gentlemen No Class, a podcast that when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. I'm Jake.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Rob.
And like it or not, gentle ladies and gentlemen, we are the host for tonight's episode.
What episode number are we on?
I think this is 58. Yes, sir.
This is 58 episodes in. This is the first one without Paul. First one without Paul. That's
true.
That's kind of a milestone. I mean, so
boring.
So
yeah,
I was trying to find that or this one's better.
Oh. I think that's a built-in sound effect on that.
It
one.
is.
Yeah,
it
that
is.
one is. Yeah,
it's good though.
No, it's great.
Like that one.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, it's fine. I'll take it.
So, joining us tonight, our good friend Ryan Landrum back on the podcast.
What's up?
Always a pleasure.
Oh,
so,
just for that voice only.
yeah, that sweet silky voice.
You know, you should be doing like voiceover at strip clubs. Coming to stay, Stardust.
Your wife, cinnamon.
I can be bought.
Your wife would be totally down for that.
Sure.
So, current events. What we got? Current events going on?
That's a good question. Thrice is in town.
Yeah, that's where Paul is. Paul's at Thrice. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
If I didn't have to do this shit, I'd probably go too.
But priorities and obligations.
Yeah, obligations. We'll talk about obligations. So, current events. What's going on? We had what was the guy's name?
Larry Tesler.
Larry Tesler died. The guy who gave us cut, copy, and paste, which didn't make it onto iPhones until like 2015.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Y'all don't remember the early days of iPhone when you couldn't like copy and paste things.
So what did you do?
Well, I didn't have an iPhone, so
Yeah.
You didn't control Z it?
You couldn't like pull up an article and like copy text off of something and like paste it somewhere else or something. Like you couldn't do that. Like it wasn't a function.
What you have to do is actually get the scissors and cut and get the Elmer's paste and paste it. Right?
Well, what was like? I was looking online the other day, and there was a guy that busted out his first generation iPod, and it still worked. Do you remember those?
Of course I do.
Sure,
yeah, the big old block white one with the
dude, I still have mine.
with the Game Boy screen,
1 inch.
Yeah, and the
thick.
circle thing.
Yeah.
No, but this one had buttons. Had 4 buttons around the edge of it, and the circle thing in the middle.
And it was
that
like
was
clicks.
the first.
It was a click wheel.
It still clicked.
Yeah.
But it was a physically moving click
physical.
wheel.
Yeah, there you go.
That was the first generation iPod,
okay.
and they were big, and they were only like 256 meg.
You know, when I first saw that, I was like, maybe I should have. And I was probably in high school, maybe junior high, I don't know. But I was like, maybe I should invest in iPod or an Apple. That was the time to invest.
That was the time to
and,
invest. That was when they were making. Well, they were still not really. It would have been earlier than that because
when the iMac came out, maybe.
When the G5 when the Mac when they re-released the Mac, you know, with the integrated screen with the color shells, and they had like the
first
green,
iMac.
blue.
Yeah, that was the first iMac, I think.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that was what's I think that's referred to as like a G3.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's
a G. Maybe that's a.
No, that's Dell. G5 and G3, I think, are Dells.
No, they still have. Anyway, it's semantics.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was when Steve Jobs took back over after he left Pixar. I think he was at Pixar.
Got me.
Or DreamWorks, something. I think it was Pixar.
DreamWorks, Pixar, same shit.
Yeah, that's when he came back, and then the iPod. So one of the things that like I remember about the iPod was when they were trying, or maybe it was the iPhone. Either way, so one of the Steve Jobs was trying to when they were designing that he was when they were bringing him prototypes. he was like, you need to make it smaller. You need to make it smaller. And they're like, we can't make it any smaller. And he took it and threw it in a fish tank, and bubbles came out.
Right,
and he's
right.
like, that means there's air in it. That means you can make it smaller.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So that was, and then the other thing that I remember is the first iPhone presentation. This is like ultra Tesla. So
Yeah.
like the beginnings of a tech company, this is how things go. Like at the very beginning, you know, like he had the iPhone and he was demonstrating how it worked, and they went through about 10 iPhones because they kept locking up, and they would shut down like as he was demonstrating
Oh, no
things during the
shit.
presentation, and he'd have to like throw it out and grab another one.
That's hilarious.
But nobody noticed.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't really notice it, but like somebody posted it on YouTube, and he's like, "There's another iPhone. There's a different one. There's a different." You know, pick them all out. So yeah, that was
David
that was
Copperfield.
right.
Shit. That's pretty good under pressure. Like, I mean, think about it. You're doing a presentation, and it goes, you know, haywire, and you just have to, you know.
Yeah, Elon's really good at that.
That's
Like,
well, no, he did it in front
throwing
of-
ball
yeah.
bearings at a truck window and then making T-shirts about it. I mean, that's
good marketing. Maybe
it is good marketing.
Maybe that was
That is.
intentional.
Lean into it. Oh,
doubt it.
Couldn't be, right?
no, couldn't be. If so, the shirts would have been available the next day.
Yeah,
They were. It took them a little while, but
but there's no such thing as bad press, right?
there's no such thing as bad press
Okay.
unless you're Phil Spector or like
Who's Phil Spector?
Roman Polanski.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
pretty bad
That's
press.
Pretty bad press. But you know his name. I didn't know Phil Spector, but I guess whatever.
Well, Phil Spector was a record producer back in the like 50s, 60s, and 70s. Like he, I was watching this. There's a great documentary, and I forget if it's on Amazon Prime or Netflix. I think it may be on Netflix. It's called 20 Feet from Stardom. Have you ever seen it?
No.
It's basically it's about like the generation of background singers. You know what I mean? Like
Nice.
the background singers that came from like the gospel Motown kind of era that started, you know, rock singers, rock bands started pulling them to use Springsteen and Bowie and the Rolling Stones and stuff like that. It was when they started pulling them to sing background and tour with them and stuff like that. It was kind of the heyday of you know, the background singer. So they do like, you know, interviews with, because it's the same group of like 7 girls that are on every recording that you've ever heard from that generation. Like,
So they
it's
hop around to different artists?
yeah,
Really?
they would, because they would be. So one of the best stories on there is it's with Mick Jagger is talking, and he's talking about when they were recording "Gimme Shelter," and you know, there's the female background, the female vocal part, Ray Murder, just a shot away. So they were recording that, and he wanted to try it with a female vocalist. So they called this lady, Mary Clanton. They called her, and she came in the middle of the night. Mick Jagger's like, it's like 2 a.m. Like, we're all fucking doped up and drinking and smoking, you know, whatever. And they call this lady. She rolls into the studio, curlers in her hair, nightgown on.
Nice.
And goes through there, and, you know, they kind of go over what the parts are, like what she's like, rape and murder these British, who are these British motherfuckers? Okay. And so she did a take of it, and they were like, yeah, that was really good. And they were like, you want to do another one? And she's like, yeah, let me do another one. I'm just going to blow these motherfuckers away. And if you listen to the take, you can hear, because they'll play you like in the documentary, they solo out like that channel, so you can hear like just that soloed vocal take. And
like
with the
acapella.
natural room reverb and everything in it. Oh man, it's awesome.
yeah.
And like, she's pushing so hard, her voice cracks. You hear it in the recording, her voice crack and stuff like that. But you hear Mick in the background when she does that go, wow! And like, you can hear it in the recording, but when it's soloed, you can really hear it. But
That's crazy.
yeah, I mean, they talk about that, like the same ladies that did like the background on like Sweet Home Alabama, you know, anything with like Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder. I mean, Bruce Springsteen, David Bowie. Like I said, it's a really cool documentary.
20 Feet from Stardom?
20 Feet from Stardom. And
Interesting,
then,
okay.
Yeah, and then like 1 or 2 of the ladies went on to be like, you know, a solo artist. Darlene Love went on to be a solo artist. But like, they talk about like what it's like to be a background singer, and then like how the new generation of artists don't think that they need that, so they don't have that. And you know,
Speaking of new generation of artists, anyone y'all listen to country?
No, a little bit, not new shit though.
Do y'all know who this Lindsay
Lohan?
Legasty
No.
from Dixie Crush? I don't know. It was on the front of Yahoo News. She died at 25. I don't know why. Or
Heroin,
how.
probably.
I don't know. It's fucked up. But yeah, from her injuries on Monday, she had injuries on Monday apparently.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Some I don't know. Thought
Heroin
maybe you guys
injuries.
That sucks.
So, did y'all watch the
Nope.
the Oscars?
Oh yes.
Did we talk about the Oscars? We didn't talk about the Oscars
think-
because Ryan Davidson was here. We went straight into wrestling.
Okay, maybe.
So we didn't talk about the Oscars. We didn't talk about was it the Oscars that we watched, or was it the Grammys that was on?
The Oscars were a
The
couple
Oscars
weeks ago, yeah.
Okay, the one where Eminem came out and everybody's like, "Why is Eminem
Yeah,
performing
he
at
did
the
a
Oscars?"
"Lose Yourself" song or something.
Is
like
it?
that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't.
It was,
I
it
didn't
was
see-
Lose Yourself, yeah.
Yeah. So, what did you watch the Oscars?
No, I mean, I
You-
read about it the next morning.
You and Doug usually do like a Oscar Academy Award like movie marathon,
yeah,
don't you?
like, well, there's so many, because they'll typically have like 8 or 9, but they'll do these marathons where they'll break them up and show 4 one Saturday and 4 the next Saturday. Yeah. And so, me and Dougie will go sit at least for one day. We didn't this year, which that's kind of my question for y'all. Like, are we all familiar with the movies that got nominated for Best
Joker.
Picture?
Joker.
Like Joker, yeah. Once Upon a Time in the West, probably, because that's Tarantino.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Yeah, I saw that one in the
That's pretty
theaters.
good.
Right. But
That
like,
one fucking.
I didn't see Parasite.
right,
I never
which is
even
what
heard
won.
of
It was the first international film to win Best
Interesting.
Picture.
It was a horror movie?
No,
No?
I don't think so. It was like a class struggle movie.
Yeah, class struggling. I saw a little bit. I couldn't get into it. Maybe just subtitles.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah.
Oh man, my buddy was like, "Dude, I watched it once. It was so good. I watched it again." I was
Yeah.
like, "Really? Okay."
Oh, I'm not sold still, but okay. I'm interested.
Then that one other movie with Kylo Ren. What the fuck's his name?
Oh, Adam Driver?
Adam Driver.
I know
About
some-
A Marriage Story.
and Black Widow, right? Or is it?
Scarlett
Scarlett
Johansson, is
Johansson.
it?
Is that his chick? Yeah.
Yeah, and that movie, and that's a sad movie.
I didn't watch it. I
Yeah.
don't know what it's about.
It's good. It's pretty fucking good. I think it's a Netflix movie or Amazon movie, but it's
What were
pretty
some
damn
of the I've seen it on streaming.
Yeah.
What were some of the other movies that were nominated though?
there was that one about the Pope.
Pope.
Yeah,
The Pope Diaries.
the
or
guy
something?
from Game of Thrones, the priest in Game of Thrones, or
I don't know who you're talking
the
about.
one that took over that town and locked up the Queen.
Was that Best Picture?
Yeah, for Best Picture, it was
was?
nominated for Best Picture, but he didn't get shit.
Okay.
Speaking of Game of Thrones, I watched this movie called Gods of Egypt this week. Have you ever seen it?
Oh, that's
it's
the
an old. It sucks.
It's
but-
a movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy that plays Jamie Lannister plays like one
Oh,
of
no
the-
shit.
yeah,
Nicholas what?
something.
Custer Weldon.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
he plays.
I found it.
Yeah, it's all like like a fictional retelling of like ancient Egypt.
Have you ever seen Shot Caller?
No,
You?
No.
It's with the same guy. The guy who plays Jamie Lannister.
Yeah.
Phenomenal fucking movie, man.
Is it?
It's about. I'm not gonna spoil it too much, but it's about a guy that has a great life, and then because of a car wreck, it shifts big time, and it's based around that car wreck, but it changes his life obviously, and it's a fucking great movie. Shot Caller.
kind of like 7 pounds.
7 pounds. What was that? That's Will Smith.
Yeah, where he causes that car wreck, and then like,
No, that's something totally different. His had an effect on his life in one way. This one's it's a dramatic effect, and he turns his life literally like 180.
okay.
It's a fucking great movie.
Yeah, I tend to like watch movies or have movies playing while I'm working. So
Yeah. Shot Caller. It's on
Shot
Vudu.
Caller.
You're welcome.
I can't really have movies that I haven't seen before because
Right.
then I don't get anything done. But typically, like I'll have stuff playing. Every once in a while, I'll pick something that like I haven't seen, and I'll kind of half pay attention to it while I'm watching, and then I may watch it again.
Yeah.
I watched Limitless for the first time.
Limitless? Yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
Which was pretty good. The one with
Xavier?
Rocket Raccoon in it. What's his name? Bradley
Oh,
Cooper.
Bradley
Yeah,
Cooper.
Bradley
That's
Cooper.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And wasn't it De Niro? Or was it Pacino?
No, De Niro's in it. Yeah,
De Niro,
yeah,
yeah.
De Niro's in it. That's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. He is in there. So, yeah, that was a pretty cool movie. Then they decided. I think they made a show about it.
They did. Yeah.
Did they?
Had the chick from Dexter in it.
It's another show I never got into. Was Dexter.
Pam and I are watching it right now.
Dexter's
It is
fucking
really good.
What season are you on?
4.
That's-
Jonathan,
with John Lithgow.
big guy. Yeah.
That's a great. Have you gotten to Thanksgiving yet?
No.
Okay.
We're on like episode 2.
Okay,
of
that's. I
season
think that's
4.
one of the best seasons out there for Dexter.
Yeah.
Out of the 7 or 8 seasons.
My dad said,
fucking
whatever
great.
you know about Lithgow, whatever you think you do, like this will change your perception.
Don't have
of
him ruin it for you,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
That's
it's like-
great, man.
Okay. Well, in the first episode, they're showing his bare ass, like naked. I'm like,
sure.
oh no, I didn't need to see that.
Oh man, but that's. I mean, if you watch Dexter, if you can only watch one season,
that's the
4,
one,
man,
okay.
for sure.
All right,
it's
I'm
fucking
in,
great.
Man. Well, it's been great so far. Jimmy Smits was in season 3, and
Jimmy
that was
Smith,
really good.
It's all
man.
about what's for lunch, Dexter. What's for lunch? It seems like throughout every episode, you're always trying to get Dexter to go out for lunch.
He taught him how to golf. That's they bonded over that.
Jimmy Smith was he the villain in season 3? Mm-hmm. He was, right?
Yeah.
He was,
Well, ultimately, it was kind of a up and down.
Up and down? Yeah.
They were
I forgot
friends,
about
and
that,
then Without
Yeah, so
giving away too much.
there's a show we've talked about it before. There's a show called Mindhunters.
yes.
You
yes.
watch
That show
it?
is fantastic.
Heard it's
So
great.
the
Love
lead on
that.
that show, the younger guy, his name's Jonathan Goff.
He's
So-
from Frozen.
Yeah, he's the guy that does the voice for Kristoff. And
Oh,
Frozen.
really?
And all the singing parts also. He also is the original Broadway cast. He played King George in Hamilton.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So he
So-
sings all the Frozen parts
Yeah.
with his. I guess his wife does it too, or there's a chick that does it with him.
I
thought they were married.
No, Kristen Bell does Anna's voice. So she.
I guess you're right.
Well, no, he's gay in real life.
Oh, is he gay
Is
too?
he?
No.
Yeah.
Am I thinking the right movie? I'm probably thinking of a different movie. I don't know. Whatever.
But Mindhunters is
Mindhunters, I heard.
fantastic.
yeah, it's a great.
It's
but they
really
delayed
good.
the third season.
Is that on Netflix?
Well, the second one only came
that?
out last year.
Did
yeah,
it?
yeah, it's Netflix. Yeah,
Yeah.
it just came out last year.
Dude, I binged the shit out of that show, dude.
it's about them profiling serial killers and
Interesting.
trying
It's-
to try.
it's based on it's based on like a real life character, and then like that movie kind of follows kind of his story.
Okay.
It's kind of the same concept as Criminal Minds, which is based on the same real life character also.
Interesting.
The guy
Okay.
that started the profiling at the FBI.
Yeah,
Sweet. Okay. I'm about to check that out.
Yeah, it was the last season was pretty good.
I think Megan probably watched it, man. She watches all this shit without me. Cause I'm too busy. Like she's like, let's watch a new show, and I get like 5 minutes into it, then I go back on my computer and do my shit.
So before we get too far into it, I just wanted to give a shout out to our friends over at Eureka Heights. I had a meeting over there. I drank free beer over there, and we talked about fun shit to do. So
It's a meeting.
badass. Man.
that's what we
meeting.
call as meetings, So if you're in the area, 941 West 18th Street, head over to Eureka Heights. You can get, right now it's Mardi Gras season, obviously, so they have baby cake. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, baby cake, which is, I guess it's a spiced ale, and I think you can pick up 4-packs there, and they have, you have the possibility of getting a token for a free beer underneath the lid of the 4-pack holder.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so like a king cake, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they also have. They were doing a dad joke contest, which was, I think it's tonight. Actually, it's a dad joke contest.
sweet.
So, and they have a.
Your best dad joke, anybody? Come on the fly. No.
Oh, my favorite. What's the internal temperature of a tauntaun? Lukewarm.
Lukewarm. Yeah, of course. It would be. It would be.
That's one of my favorites. They have a beer that they did for kind of Father's Day or whatever. It's called Hi Hungry I'm Dad.
Oh, okay.
So it's a IPA.
Oh, yes.
Made with cashmere hops. I didn't try that, but what they did have. I'm a big fan of the Mu Caliente.
You are.
So they have a limited run that they're doing right now called the Boom Caliente, and it's a coffee. It's a coffee hinted milk stout. So it's a spiced milk stout with coffee on nitro. Like Mu
okay.
Caliente has like the cayenne pepper in it. The Boom Caliente has coffee flavors in it.
So forgive me for not knowing this, Rob, on this beer, knowledge, but is this somewhat resemble Guinness, like the stout, milk stout? And that's what Guinness is. A
Guinness
milk
is not a milk stout.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the difference between a stout and a milk stout is. This would be a good conversation to have
Yeah.
with Chris, I think we're going to do an episode over at the brewery and, just get them guys, to filter all their beer knowledge.
But
down
you would
to
think
us.
that Mu Caliente is under the same umbrella of it can kind of be. Paired
It's a
with.
stout, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's made with the same basic ingredients.
Yeah, okay.
Like you do
Because nitro, you said,
well, that just means that you don't have it on a CO2 carbonation.
but that's usually served with Guinness too. Like you can't do every beer with nitro, can you?
No, but Guinness is not nitro. Well, yeah, it is. Yeah, Guinness is on a nitro tap most of the time.
Right.
I mean, to get it good, it is.
Right.
It makes it a lot less bubbly and more smooth.
Nice.
I don't know if you've ever had Guinness on. I mean,
I have
on
a
tap.
black and tan.
They're,
That's fucking phenomenal.
Oh yeah, they're great. Bellhaven's another one that they do on nitro a lot. It's a Scottish ale.
Okay.
I digress.
I
Anyway,
digress. Yes.
So, the real reason that we pulled Ryan into the studio tonight is for our hot button topic of conversation tonight. We are going to talk about the. Is it a controversy?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
scandal. It's
We're
all
going to
those
talk
things.
about
Deception.
our hometown Houston Astros, and because baseball season's starting up. Preseason games are starting
Spring
Monday.
training.
pretty
Yeah.
soon. Here,
What day is it today?
I
The
think it is on
21st.
Monday,
Tomorrow
yeah.
they play the Astros play the Angels.
Is it tomorrow? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're starting preseason games, spring training stuff. So we were, nobody can get enough of, the controversy surrounding the Astros. So
Everybody's talking about it.
Yep.
Might as well jump in.
yeah, we don't
Fuck it.
usually do sports stuff,
Yeah.
but we're expanding our repertoire a little bit here. Paul's not here to chime in about
Stop
how bored
us.
he is. So
Yeah.
So, just to give, if you don't know, so let's talk about the background of this. So, it was alleged that in 2017, the year that the Astros won the World Championship, that they were using cameras at home to read the catcher's signs to the pitcher and signal the batters so that they know what pitches are coming. Mm-hmm. That's the general gist of it.
Right.
Which is, I correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. Ryan did all the research. This is all a speculation, opinion piece on my part. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not technically illegal to do that.
No, it is to use video
To use
equipment.
tech.
To use video equipment.
Yes.
Or
Okay.
technology in general.
So that's one of the things I wanted to talk to y'all about, get y'all's opinion on. So sign stealing has been around pretty much since the beginning of baseball.
Right. Anything to get an edge.
And that is not technically illegal, sign stealing. But old school sign stealing was, if you're the offensive team, you get a guy on second base. That guy on second is watching the catcher, seeing what he does, trying to pick up on what the signal for fastball is, what the signal for changeup is, such and such, and then he relays it to either the dugout, the batter, whatever. That's classical sign stealing, and that is not illegal. But in order to curtail, as technology improved and all that, in order to curtail more advanced sign stealing, the league came out in 2017 and said, you can't use video equipment. You can't.
What year was this?
No, it's 17.
Okay.
It was 17.
So that's why the Astros, that's why it's becoming a big deal now, because that was when it officially became a rule that you couldn't do that.
Right. Supposedly, and that's one of the things that Manfred said why he gave Lunau, Jeff Lunau, who's the former Astros general manager, why he came down so hard with the hammer is that he said, you knew this was illegal. We had literally just talked about this in 17, and you did nothing to stop it.
Right.
Yeah. So from my understanding, this was kind of a top-down thing. I mean, from my understanding, the GM didn't know anything about it. Hinch claims that he didn't know either, but he wasn't investigating accusations of it.
So he actually knew. So let's back up just a little bit. The Astros made it to the World Series in 2019, right? And pretty much right around the time that concluded is when Mike Fiers, former Astro pitcher, who was actually on the 2017 World Series
And
team, has a ring. 2 years
the
later
money.
is when he did an interview with a couple of guys from The Athletic, which is a sports journalism website. And that's when he told them, he's like, I can't keep it to myself anymore. And
He wasn't with the Astros.
he wasn't
Right.
Yeah, he's with the Athletics right
with
now.
the Athletics now.
he said, I can't keep this to myself anymore. I feel like I have to come clean. And that's when he started telling everyone about the video equipment. And that's what launched this whole thing, right? Once he came out with it, then you hear all these other people accusing the Astros of such and such. So literally 2 days after Fires came out with that, the MLB launched their own, investigation and everything. And that's when really everything started to come out. And what their findings was that Lunau, the general manager, maybe had an idea, but he did not know much, may not have known specifics, but they were mad because even if he had the faintest idea, he should have stopped it. And even if he didn't know anything about it, how can you be the general manager and not know this is going on? Right. So that was why they dropped the hammer on him. And then the field manager, AJ Hinch, the guy in the clubhouse, he knew about it. This is what the investigation found, concluded, was that he knew about it. He didn't like it. He didn't agree with it. He actually destroyed the monitors that they were using to record this stuff a couple of times, but they apparently kept just getting new monitors, and he never put a stop to it.
Yeah, he never ran it up to Lunau. And
right.
He didn't like have a team meeting and say this shit stops. Like we're not doing
exactly. He never put his foot down.
Right, and that's what a leader needs to do. And then at that point, MLB said we're fining the Astros X amount of dollars.
$5 million.
$5 million,
which is the most they are allowed to fine a team.
Right, and then they handed Lunau and Hinch a 1-year suspension from Major League Baseball, and then Jim Crane came a day later and said that he was letting him go.
Right. No, the same day.
Same day? Okay,
same
it was the
day.
same. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was later
Punishment,
on in the afternoon.
It was like just a couple hours later.
Yeah.
I mean, he was ready. And they did find that the owner, Jim Crane, knew nothing about it at all.
Yeah, I mean,
supposedly.
how would he?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you know anything about Jim Crane, but he's very much into like loving owning the Astros and loving being but he doesn't do anything with the day-to-day. Like he doesn't know anything about what's going on in the field and what's anything more than I totally believe that Jim Crane had no idea what was going on.
Sure.
So after, so then the controversy starts building. So then all these people that, start weighing in their opinion on what should have happened. Should the Astros have had the championship taken away? There's no precedence for that. And if you look at if you look at like the facts of the season and things, like Ryan and I were talking about earlier, it's kind of one of those things. Like if you look at the facts of the season, our hitting record was better on the road than it was at home, where you can only use technology sign stealing equipment at home because obviously, like if you're in somebody else's
backyard
ballpark, what I mean, you're not going to be able to set that shit up. They're going to know. They're going to know exactly what you're up to. So they can only do it at home. So if that's the case, and they can only do it at home, like you would think that, if it was an actual competitive advantage, then we would have had a better record at home than on the road, right?
I mean, the talent's there, though.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, now
it could have been more of a distraction.
It doesn't make it okay.
Right.
But I still feel like it wasn't a competitive advantage as much as people are making it out.
That's what kills me. You said that the talent was there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what'll haunt Astros fans forever. Is like, I don't even think they really needed it.
They didn't need it.
They didn't need it. They had the pitching, they had the hitting, they had everything.
It's a fact that their batting was better on the road. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Actually, that I don't. I mean, I believe Rob.
But our batting, our batting averages and our winning record was better on the road.
If that is the case, then it was more of a distraction than anything. I'm not trying to be on the Astros side because what they did was completely wrong. But why would it be better on the road when they're doing this cheating at home? Is it more of a distraction? Trying to focus and do three things at once to hit the ball?
So here's my thing: is like if you're the other team, they in baseball. So like if you're the other team and you see this when you're watching baseball, if batters start picking up on a hitting streak off of a pitcher, they pull the pitcher,
right,
or they change the signs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like you can tell there was a couple of games where I totally believe that they caught the sign and they had figured it out. There was one time I forget what game it was, but Bregman caught the sign. Like he fucking tore a monster home run. He knew exactly what was coming. He walked back to the dugout and like he was you could see in the video of it, They were like, "Oh, did he catch?"
That was
the
in the
sign?
playoffs, I
Yeah,
believe.
you remember? And then like the next 4 batters.
Yeah, well,
just
because
fucking,
who were they playing
we-
against? Was it against the A's or who? The first round.
I think it was the Dodgers.
No, it was the first. No, first round in the
Which year?
2019. Because I think it was in that round.
Yeah, that was this year.
Yeah, they caught the sign, and then they were telling everybody about it. And it wasn't really. It was just the way that the pitcher was holding his glove.
Right, tipping pitches.
Yeah, he was
Yeah, he
tipping
was
pitches
tipping
exactly.
pitches. And I mean, you can tell like if they know what the signs are, they knock the shit out of the
course,
ball.
yeah.
So like it just goes to show, like it makes you wonder, like like is it a distraction? Because I mean, is it really that big of is it an advantage at all?
But if it hits it, the ones that hit, would they have hit without that sign?
And that's
I mean,
an
that's a
interesting.
question.
That's
an answer.
nobody's keeping record on that.
Exactly,
Like,
you know what I mean?
you know what I mean? Like, are you how accurate are you at picking up their signs?
Because if you
because
go-
they'll change pitchers and then they'll change the sign.
Because if you go to ALCS, when they went to Yankee Stadium, they got slobbered, dude. They got killed. When they won in Minute Maid, they won by like 1 or 2 runs. So it was that close of an advantage of winning. So going to Yankee Stadium and they get killed by like 4 or 5 runs. I mean, they used it to their advantage.
But they didn't lose every game at Yankee Stadium. They lost a couple of games.
No,
at
in
Yankee
the playoffs,
Stadium.
I think they lost every game. It came down to game
No.
7.
In 17 they
Yeah.
did, yeah. The home team won
came down
every
to-
game.
The home team won every game. So I mean, and that goes for another thing. Like we were kind of discussing this earlier. Like the Astros were made an example out of. Yeah, help yourself.
That's
grab
fine.
one. You know, they were made an example out of. I feel like because it, like Ryan said, it was the first year of that rule. You know what I mean? But I mean, other teams have been fined for cheating and sign stealing.
But if it was any other team, would you want them to make an example out of? I think they should. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think they should because it's not right. It does suck to say that.
It does. It sucks to be. It sucks. You know why it sucks so bad?
It's
Because it was easy to be an Astros fan when you were the underdog fan, and then you were the team that we don't do that.
Well,
We're not the asshole
and
team.
it was Hurricane Harvey.
Yeah.
And there was the fucking hero story.
Well, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about just in general, it's easy to be an Astros fan because the Astros have always been kind of like this stand-up team, no controversy with the team. You don't have a bunch of guys that are getting, no steroid allegations on everybody
Bagwell,
else.
Caminetti.
Okay, that was back in the day.
Yeah.
But that was way back in
That's
the
true,
day.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like current teams, like you're talking like, and you're talking about Bagwell and Caminetti, like there was never like it didn't go very far. It didn't go as far as it did with like Mark McGwire.
Oh,
and
no,
shit.
not at all.
You know what I mean? But you don't have anybody getting arrested. You don't have anybody getting beating their wives or drugs or anything.
The way
you know what I mean?
the way I looked at it
was easy to be a fan of everybody on that team.
Well, see, the way I looked at it is that we finally got our shot. Okay, we had our 94-95 run with the Rockets, and then the Astros come, we got our shot. Dallas, okay, they don't have a great NBA team, but they won in 2011, but they also had their fucking 90s Cowboys, right? New York has fucking Yankees. Every team or city, most of the cities have multiple championships, and like here I am thinking like Houston finally got another run, and we're a badass team. Oh, we fucking cheated. That sucks. That's a bitter taste.
It's terrible because I have so many great memories of that 17 run. A very first playoff game, Altuve hits 3 home runs against Boston. I mean, that started off like that all the way down to who's the guy that closed out Game 7? Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton,
yeah.
pitched the last 5 innings of Game 7 to clinch it. All the way in between, just all these great memories, and now it's gone. Yeah.
We still beat LA in LA. You can't take that. I mean, there was no cheating on that game, right?
No, and look, the report even found conflicting information to where they couldn't even say for sure that the Astros cheated in the playoffs.
Right.
They can't even say the 100% certainty that they did.
Well, and that's one, because I mean, if you're the Astros, like at that point, like you're in the playoffs, you have the talent. Like, why taint it and just and do that? Like, I don't know. If it was me and I was trying to pull this off, like I would just be like,
well, see, to this day, there was no proof, right? It was just the testimony of the players, right? Just to get the amnesty.
Yeah. So yeah,
it was just like, hopefully, you're telling me the truth. So if you're telling me that you didn't cheat in the playoffs, that's we had to take it as base value.
Yeah, so none of the players got punished, which we didn't mention. But the reason for that, partially what you said, is that they agreed to give their testimony. So, but I think the real reason is that the league felt like the players' union would not allow them to penalize the players. Because how do you, when you have a team of 15 offensive players, 16, however many it is throughout the course of the season, how do you determine who was using this, who was in on it, who was out on it? Right. How do you dish out culpability? It's much easier to just penalize GM, field manager, and the team.
Well, yeah, I mean that's and that's the way it should be. You know what I mean? Like when you have when Enron fell, you know what I mean? Like they didn't punish the accountants that weren't doing these things. You know what I mean? Like it was like you said, you go to the leadership where the buck has to stop somewhere. You know what I mean? Like it all comes. If it was a culture thing, well, that culture starts with somebody, and as a leader, like that's your job to either ensure that the good culture happens and the bad culture stops, and if it doesn't, that's your fault. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Do y'all think the players should have been punished?
I don't think they should have been punished.
It's hard.
I think that I mean, I think that I don't know, because at that point you have to be like, well, like if the Astros are sign stealing and if you're a batter, you're Jose Altuve, all right, like you could be the pressure to be like involved in that would be. I mean, he could have just been like, no, like I'm not going to do it, and then the peer pressure on that is one way. But then you don't know if he actually like paid attention to what signs they were telling him they were. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because you're the batter, like you could have just been like, oh man, like
because they just swing for the fences a few times. You know what I mean? The crime needs to fit. And missed. And the crime needs to fit because I don't think you can 100% prove. They could just say, I didn't hear that shit. I just swing because I thought it was a good pitch. Just like the fucking what's the closer? The Cuban Missile for the Yankees, Chapman, when he hit that home run, that was a fucking perfect pitch for him. Mm-hmm. And even if there was a cheating or trash can bangs, he would have still swung at that pitch. I mean, someone made a good point because it was like a hanging breaking ball, and he fucking swung for the fences and went out. I mean, he swings at those pitches all the damn time. So I mean, it's
it's not a black or white issue. I read one thing that said that Carlos Beltran, who was on the team in 2017, apparently he was one of the godfathers of this. He believed in it. He pushed it on the team and said, "This is what we're going to do." And since he was a leader, been in the league 20 years, people, people fell in line and listened to him. Supposedly, Brian McCann, who was one of the catchers on the team, said at some point in the season, said, "This is wrong, man. We need to stop." And Beltran just steamrolled over him, said, "No, we're doing it." So it's like, how would you punish McCann, who was against it, versus, Beltran, who was a ringleader? We didn't even talk about Beltran and Alex Cora, but supposedly this was the brainchild of Alex Cora, Carlos Beltran, and a couple of other people. Okay. Alex Cora was the assistant bench coach in 2017. He actually moved on next year to manage the Red Sox, who won the World Series in 2018.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, like, that's the whole thing is, like, do you investigate you find the ringleaders and then investigate?
Well, they invested the Red Sox. What was the verdict on
It's not out yet. It should come out in a week or so. But they already, mutually parted ways with Cora, quote unquote. But I think the Red Sox knew it was going to happen. He was going to get suspended
we're
or
catching
anyway.
all the heat, though.
It's brutal, man.
You know what?
We're living a nice blanket for Red Sox with a soft landing. They're not going to catch nearly as much heat.
I don't think so. I agree. I agree.
Now, like, what do you think about, like, the MLB launching an entire probe and giving amnesty to every player and just saying, hey, we want to know how far this went, and, like, let's just find out how far it's gone. Like, the Astros have been punished for it. Like, we're not going to go after anybody. We just want to know who was doing it and what we can do to stop it, and say, players, y'all all have amnesty. Like, let's figure out where it went. What if that came back?
What's the perks of coming out?
Yeah. But most other teams aren't going to get Mike Fiers. Yeah. We got Mike Fiers.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And a lot of people, I know Big Papi did.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people have said, what is his problem? Why did he do this? He should not have done that. You do not do that to your brothers.
That's true.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think he was fucking salty because he got traded. You know what I mean? And then, and Big Papi said the same thing. He was like, no, fuck that. They're not giving back the championship. They won that shit. It doesn't like that's y'all are salty about it. He goes, if it was such a big deal, if Mike Fiers thought it was such a big deal, he should give him back the fucking ring.
And the money, man.
And Mike Fiers was like, well, I'm not giving him the money or the ring. You know what I mean?
Phil Garner, the old the old manager for the Astros, did an interview with Sports Radio 610, and he called Mike Fiers a fucking rat, like straight up.
Yeah.
Like that's a rat thing to do.
Papi called him a snitch.
A snitch, and it's the truth, man. I mean, it wasn't right what he did, I think, because that was your brothers and your family.
There's a certain camaraderie.
But it wasn't
in baseball
right
that
for what the
doesn't
Astros
exist
did.
anymore. You know what I mean? And that's
Baseball's had multiple scandals over time, right? Whether it was betting or steroids or all this stuff. But it was never one player ratting out Mark McGwire or the Black Sox. It was they got busted themselves.
Exactly.
McGwire failed the test, or Barry Bonds failed the test.
And nobody testified against. There was a couple of people that were put on a congressional panel and had to testify.
Right.
And they testified,
but for themselves.
Because they testified that they saw them giving shots and stuff like that. But
not affecting the whole team the way this is.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's the whole thing. And like you listen to interviews afterwards, and you're like, well, that's a congressional fucking hearing. Like if you perjure yourself at a congressional hearing, like that's different than an MLB inquiry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, and I think that like at that point, like Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and Barry Bonds and all them were like, it is what it is. Like y'all like they basically were like, I don't harbor any ill will against you guys because you have to they're ordering you to tell the truth or whatever. You know
who made out a bat out of that whole case?
Barry Bonds,
Andy Pettit. He like, yeah, I fucking did it. I'm pitching tomorrow. Everybody forgot about it.
God bless Andy Pettit. Yeah, he fell on his sword. He said, I did it,
from my alma mater.
I'm telling you, that fucking guy.
The only good thing to come out of San Jacinto Community College, Andy Pettit.
Andy Pettit,
and me.
1 and 1A. Yeah.
So I mean, and you still have like the ongoing repercussions of like where this is going. You have others. LeBron James. What did LeBron James say? Like he was.
Hey, I got it right here.
He was adamant about
he needs
like
to make it right or something like that.
And then Pete Rose comes out and was like, "Well, if they're going to cheat and you're just going to find them and let them keep playing, then you should let me back into baseball because he wants to be in the Hall of Fame." Which rightly he should be.
He should.
I think that Pete Rose has served his time. Like his punishment was way over what it should have been.
Yeah.
Like I think that they blew that way out of proportion.
I'm a little surprised it hadn't happened. But I got LeBron's quote right here. Listen, I know I don't play baseball, but I am in sports. And I know if someone cheated me out of winning the title and I found out about it, I would be fucking irate.
It's a valid quote, though. I mean, I don't know if I want to say it because I'm not a baseball fucking player.
Now, let me ask you a question. You guys are both basketball fans. How do you cheat in basketball?
It's not as easy as it is. I mean, you can intentionally miss shots. I mean,
you can throw a game.
Yeah, you can throw a game,
but you can't
like Donahue, whatever that rep.
Tim Donahue,
that rep that just kind of called fouls every against the opposing team that he betted against.
That's the only way I could see it is if you paid off a ref and they called the game differently, something like that.
Right, but you're. I guess what I'm saying is like there's no like for a baseball.
You can't take a steroid.
Yeah,
right.
Like for basketball,
there's
like
no Michael Jordan secret punch or juice from Space Jam. You know? Secret stuff. There you go.
Secret stuff. Michael's secret stuff. You know, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. Like, I mean, the only way you can cheat is with like an HGH or a steroid or something like that because
something that produces power.
Right? Yeah, because you're trying to gain a competitive advantage, and because it's more of a, for lack of a better term, brute force game like football. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where baseball is more of a mental game where it's a batter trying to figure out what pitch the pitcher's going to hit or pitch so that you can hit it. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of strategy involved. It's like a chess game. Where do you position the outfield? Where do you position the infield? What order do you bat in? You know, who's pitching against who? What pitch do you throw against this guy? Statistics on where this guy's going to swing. Sure. It's a lot more it's a lot more like razor's edge of like what can give you a competitive advantage and what can't.
Yeah.
Which is why I think that you see a lot of these issues come up in baseball more so than in any other sport. You know what I mean? I mean, do you agree with me on that?
To an extent. I mean, in football, New England had Spygate. Right, they were accused of trying to watch and figure out what the other team, Deflategate as well.
Yeah.
You know, there was Bountygate. You know,
there
have been controversies like that in football. You know, the ironic thing, we're in Houston. You asked us about basketball. James Harden has been, I feel like that's a lot. That's the reason why there's a lot of hate against James Harden, is because people accuse him of not cheating, but exploiting
a whole
they say, like, a lot of his moves look like travels, or he tries to draw fouls instead of
okay,
it's not outright cheating, but people say it's not pure basketball. It's not Jordan. It's not Kobe.
So like
that's a human factor. There's an error factor in basketball, right? People miss things. Like I remember in the '97 Western Conference Finals where John Stockton hit that three to send them to the finals to go against the Bulls. Well, and that last play, Karl Malone does a moving pick.
Oh, he bear hugged him, man.
And like his feet are moving, and it's like, come on, of course Stockton's wide open.
Gosh.
They missed that call. That's that human factor.
I'm glad I'm over that.
That's so. I mean, and that brings us back to that circles you back to the technology aspect of things. You know what I mean? Like, where does the technology stop in sports? Do you make it as pure as playing a video game? Or do you let the human factor be involved so that you can still keep it,
because it still gives the justification to all those bogus calls that ruin, the game, that advance the other team that shouldn't have been advanced.
Yeah.
It happened again, I think, in Vikings against the Saints. That should have been a pass interference call for that scoring.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I think it was an interception. They called it an interception, and yeah, that was the game for the Saints. So, I mean, you got to have that. I mean, because it is humans. It's not robots fucking, refereeing the game.
Stuff
Robots
like
fucking?
that. Yeah, robots fucking. There's certain things you're going to need people. Like stuff like that, I agree 100%. To the extent that you can automate things, though, I think they need to be. Like in baseball, balls and strikes, I feel like it's only a matter of time before that is automated, and that's no longer a person making those decisions.
I disagree. I think that having an umpire back there calling balls and strikes, I mean, as long as you don't switch the umpire, like the umpire, what they see as the strike zone is usually, for the most part, the strike zone all night. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like the strike zone for one team and then the strike zone for the other team.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that you can regulate the person and make it so that, like, hey, like, if this person can't bet on this game, like, make sure that you're doing background checks on that. Things like that, where you have, you're making sure that person is staying as a unbiased neutral party and that's what you need, unbiased neutral party to be a referee or an umpire, a line judge or a goal judge or anything. You have to have that, like, you're making the call for the play and not, adjusting your call to fit the scenario that you want to happen.
Right. But what unbiased neutral party is there more than a computer robot, judging that? You don't have to worry about biases. You don't have to worry about a ref being off their game that day. It's all automated.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's there yet, but I'm just saying I think it will be eventually.
But, okay.
Technology.
But still, I think that, like,
what about the height of a player like Altuve? He alters his strike zone. The umpire has to alter the strike zone because the strike zone for the 6 foot tall guy is not going to be the same as Altuve. So,
and that's the same like Bagwell used to do. Bagwell had that really wide stance, and it lowers the strike zone so that the umpire can't get a good line of sight on it. You know what I mean? More high balls and things like that. So, that's one of the things that you get with that's that competitive advantage that's the pure competitive advantage to go for. You know what I mean? Without like having to quote unquote cheat, steal signs, or whatever. You're altering the way that you play the game to fit the rules, to give yourself a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, if you pull the human aspect out of the judging of those rules, then you lose a lot of that.
Do you think that this was the only year that the Astros did it?
Well, like he said,
like it's the first year.
It's the first year. Supposedly. It's the first year that it was against the rules. I think that it was really widespread before that, and most teams probably stopped.
So the Wall Street Journal published an article a couple of weeks ago where they, after talking to additional people that the Athletic did not in their article, they found evidence that the Astros first got the idea in September of 2016. That's when they first got the idea. And the idea actually came from an intern, supposedly.
Oh, right.
And,
Yes.
Yeah. So an intern went to Lunau and showed him this. And this is real. I'm not making this up. A PowerPoint presentation about a program called Codebreaker, which was an Microsoft Excel driven thing that would, show you how to read signs and interpret and all this stuff. And that was the brainchild. Supposedly, according to this Wall Street Journal article, that was September of 2016. And then the MLB's investigation found that the Astros were doing it throughout 2017, maybe in the playoffs, and then a little bit at the beginning of 2018. And then supposedly the players determined this really isn't helping us in any way in 2018, and that's when they stopped doing it.
I don't think it helped them in 2017, but I mean, now that whole year is tainted. You know what I mean? Like it obviously the statistics don't back up the fact that their hitting was not better at home, their winning percentage was not better at home. So I mean, who did it help? All it did was tarnish that win for us. You know what I mean?
Would you still feel that same way if it was the Yankees doing this? And it probably didn't help.
Ooh, that's a good question. You know what I mean? Like if the Yankees were doing that and they won instead of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because it's the Yankees, I would call bull. I would. Yeah. I think that you would see. I think that you would see it another way, because if it was the Yankees doing it, they would have done it much cleaner, much better, and they would have stopped as soon as they realized that it wasn't helping them.
Right.
And they would, if they were still using it, that means that they could have proved game for game that it was helping them.
The only thing that the Astros have on that playoffs, the postseason, was that the Dodger statistics in the World Series. They were not great at all. That just means that we had phenomenal pitching. We had to score runs, right?
2017, we had a great pitching staff. I still don't understand why we traded Charlie Morton. I mean, I understand why we traded Charlie Morton, but it shouldn't have happened. But
I don't think we traded him. I think he went somewhere else, signed a bigger contract.
Did he? I thought that we traded him for somebody. I thought that's how we got Verlander. That was part of that three-way trade that we got Verlander.
No.
Verlander was on the team.
Yeah. Morton and Verlander were both on the team when we won in 2017. Yeah. Remember Charlie Morton closed out Game 7.
Not Verlander. Who's Cole? I thought that Charlie Morton was part of that deal to get Cole.
No, they both pitched in 2018. They were on the staff. They were both on the staff in 2018. Yeah. So I really thought he walked as a free. Anyway, regardless.
Yeah. We should have paid him the money and kept him.
He's fantastic. Yeah, he was fantastic last year.
He did great. I mean, that was one of the things that when we lost last year. Like, I was like, fucking Charlie Morton,
dude. That's the okay. In 2019, the Astros were 8 outs away from winning another World Series.
Why they pulled Greinke? I don't know.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So let me ask you all this.
That year, right?
No.
Cheating, yeah.
The investigation found that was done in 2018. That stopped. So 2019 was clean. If we had won the World Series in 2019, would the backlash be less, more, or the same?
Less.
Way less.
Right now?
I think it'll be the same. I think people are blinded by the cheat.
Yeah,
they'll just say,
"Well,
they cheated another way. The buzzers, they're fucking cheaters."
Yeah. We haven't even talked about the alleged buzzers.
They were cheating the whole time. That sucks. The only way to shut them up is win it.
Right.
Win it now after the investigation.
I agree.
So, I mean, what else haven't we touched on that?
Fucking Altuve's tattoo, I guess.
No, I mean,
what's the deal with? I know it's his daughter's name, but how does?
I don't know. Someone pointed out a group picture that he did. I think it was an early part of the 19 season, and he didn't have no tattoo. And now, I guess they said that he got that tattoo right before postseason. And then people are saying, why did he just get that tattoo right before the biggest series of his life now that he's trying to win it again? So why would he get a tattoo? I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, I heard it was his daughter's name on his collarbone, so I'm not thinking it was a very invasive tattoo.
Yeah, and well, the other controversy about the buzzing thing is like Jose Altuve will never take his shirt off on the field. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like there's been a couple of times when he'll physically pull it down and like. The interviews, he always says he's modest and
when it is off, is it ripped off by his teammates?
He said
Usually,
he did an
something
interview.
like
He
that.
said there was some big game. I thought it was from 17, where after he hit a walk-off homer, walk-off hit something, the team ripped his jersey off.
Yeah.
And he said his wife was pissed
his wife was
that
pissed.
they ripped his jersey up, and so that's why now he's very much like no.
Those Hispanic wives, man, they're jealous as fuck.
Vicious.
Yeah, vicious.
So here's one thing we hadn't talked about, but I was curious about y'all's take on this. So relief pitcher Mike Bolsinger is suing the Astros, claiming that their sign-stealing scheme is the reason his career was cut short after an August 2017 game in which he gave up 4 runs against the Astros. So supposedly he came up from the minors, had this one game, got shellacked, and then was never heard from again. Like his career was done after that.
Yeah, I don't think that lawsuit's going to go anywhere. I mean, the guy's fucking. If you've looked at his stats, he's. I read that article and then I went and looked up his stats.
Yeah,
like in the minors, his stats weren't fucking phenomenal. They weren't great to begin with, and like when you look at that game, the streak of 4 hitters that he got our. I think if I remember correctly, I'm probably going to say this wrong. I think he got our 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the 4 hitters that he got. So I mean, he got the top. He got the fucking top of the lineup, and he was a minor league pitcher who was coming up. That his stats weren't that great to begin with. I think he was just a spot filler, to be honest with you. And they brought him up to give him a shot, and he blew his shot. And now he's saying that the reason that he blew his shot was because the Astros were stealing signs.
Well, we know he went through Alvarez because he wasn't hitting shit. That sucks. I'm a big fan of him too.
Are you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those things that, like, I don't know. That's I feel bad for the guy. I mean, I do, but I think it's a chicken shit cowardly move to fucking
look. If you're good enough to make it, you're going to make it.
Exactly.
You know, there have been guys who've been destroyed.
Yeah.
It happens all the time, but if you're good
to
enough,
fucking Justin Verlander. I mean, like it happens.
But the good players rebound, and then they're successful.
Yeah, they're
you know?
at that point.
Still
That guy
waiting for Verlander to wake up in postseason, though.
It's not going to happen.
You know, I mean, because that guy is a Cy Young winner, and it happened to him. Good point, Rob.
I know. I mean, it happens.
You know,
I mean that was the whole thing. Like a team. That's the great thing about baseball is that from night to night, a team can be. You have the same guys playing against each other night after night.
It's mental.
And one game you're fucking on it, and one game you're not.
Look at Lidge when he hit it off fucking Pujols. He was never the same.
Never in Houston. Only in Houston.
Yeah, no,
because he left and
he went to Philly.
He went to Philly and helped them win a World Series. He was actually productive
with Royo.
I know,
fucking the Wizard.
Yeah,
I love
Royo. Yeah. Drayton bought him a bulldozer after he won us Game 6 against the Cardinals in the World Series.
Did he
always
really?
love that. He did. I love that story. Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I mean, those stories abound in baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, players that they
like
lose
Yordan
it.
Alvarez, he was hot all season. It gets to the postseason, doesn't hit shit.
Exactly. I mean, but he's a rookie, so I mean, like he was nervous. So I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things. And that's what makes baseball such a great game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's totally mental. You have one player that's hitting one night and then you're off the next. Yeah. You know what I mean? A pitcher that's pitching fucking fire all the time and then they're just not. They're throwing rocks. So I mean, at this point, now shifting away from the team aspect of this, like let's talk about Houston. As a city and as a community and as Astros fans.
Since we're still on that, I hate to say it, but
okay,
we're still on the subject about the lawsuit. What about that? Your take on the season ticket holder lawsuit? What is your take on
ridiculous?
That? Ridiculous. Yeah,
absolutely silly. I do.
Okay, so think about it. Okay, I think so too, to a certain degree. But what if you use the season tickets as your advantage to taking out people that you want to not necessarily employ, but to inquire into your business, and you're taking them out for the night of the town and everything. Here's a couple of tickets to the Astros game. Oh, you mean to the Cheaters game? You think they're going to want to go to that? Now,
well, Jake, you want to
the
give them
Sugarland Skeeters, not the. The
Cheaters. There you go. Nice.
I see what you did
but you
there.
know what I mean? And like that may be like I'm trying to gain this client to like me. he may not want to go to the Astros game now.
Can you tell him like with the backstory of that, like what that lawsuit's about?
I do not know.
So
I do not know.
So this is my understanding. There's an Astros fan who is suing the Astros on behalf of all season ticket holders.
Yes.
Because his argument is the Astros started playing better, and with each better season, they increased season ticket prices.
Right.
And so he had to pay more money. Everyone had to pay more money to get season tickets. Whereas if they hadn't
Everybody
cheated,
had to pay more money for tickets in general.
maybe so. But his argument is if they hadn't gotten that good a record, if they hadn't cheated and gotten those better records, they would not have increased the prices the way they did. It's absolute crap. It's a joke.
Yeah, that's a bullshit lawsuit.
Yeah,
I used to have season tickets to the Texans back in from 2010 to 2015. They didn't produce shit. They didn't produce shit. But every year the fucking tickets went up.
I didn't know you were rolling like that.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Well, how much money do you make?
Well, no.
Jesus.
My uncle.
Okay. Back then, bro, it was only like $200 for the whole season.
It was like $800 a season. $800. We don't have the greatest tickets, but my uncle. Backtrack. My uncle has been a season ticket holder.
Did you just throw the money thing at him, Mr. Royal Rumble floor seats?
I know those shit. Right?
That was one game.
Well, hold on.
Over here.
No. You had good seats for the fucking the wrestling event the night before too, didn't you?
No, they're just okay. And those are
How many times have you sat like really good seats for the Rockets?
Oh, not often. I went to one game this year. Good seats, but just one game. Yeah. No, but dude, this is like 20 years ago, and he's got season tickets to the first season.
No, I can still get them. I just have kids now, and I don't have time to spend all day at Sunday in our team.
That's true.
But my uncle has been a season ticket holder since the 70 Oilers, 70-something Oilers. And he got renewed in 2002 because Texans got their expansion team. And he got like 17 seats because of his company. So I got back introduced into that side of the family.
I don't need any seats. Don't worry about me.
No, well, I mean, that's how I'm able to get at least a seat. There's one seat. My brother has one, and my cousin has a couple.
That's awesome.
So that's great. If I wanted to get back into it, I could do it. That's the Hispanic privilege.
Oh yeah,
I finally get one. Goddamn it!
You got one.
Yeah,
you got one on me, dude. That's fine. That's awesome. You got one on me.
But I think kind of going along with your point is, and your point as well, Rob. Season tickets go up. The price goes up
every year. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, whether you're good or bad, it goes up.
Look, it's a business. They're going to increase prices at least with inflation 2%. I mean, at least.
Yeah.
Especially if the team's winning. It doesn't even matter if they're in the playoffs
Texans
or
weren't
not.
even. We had fucking.
If they had a winning record, if they were close to being a wild card, tickets will go up.
Yeah.
Regardless, because that money has to go to scouting new talent. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I mean that it's a frivolous lawsuit. It'll fail.
Yeah. Okay. I did not know it was that. I thought it was probably the product.
Silly.
The product. I think the product. The image being, tarnished, I think that's more of a valid lawsuit than the fucking ticket pricing.
Like, let me ask you, do you think now, because of the scandal, season ticket prices are going down?
Nah, they're going to stay the same.
So.
At
I
least
think they're going to
minimum.
stay the same.
I think they're going to probably increase. If it's smart, increase because you're going to want to see that fucking drama on the field.
I think H-Town's going to still buy at those tickets.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I'll go to the
because
games.
they have a good team. Yeah. It's not about the cheating.
Yeah,
they literally have a good team.
And that's where I want to go next. As a community, where do we go from here?
Oh, we're still rooting, and I guarantee you, Mattress Mac's still fucking rooting.
Well, I mean, I'm Astros fan for life, but I mean, win or lose, like I'm an Astros fan, always have been. But I mean, there's a lot of people online that are like, you know what, fuck them, let's turn heel. You know what I mean? It's like, did you see that? Did you see that?
Well, of course, I posted it.
Yeah, the Hulk Hogan meme. That was fucking great.
It was like Hulk Hogan before walking up in Bash at the Beach in '95. I think '94, '95, and then that's the Astros in the past. And then he was rocking the air guitar and the NWO shirt, and that's the president.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Just turn
Hollywood.
heel. You know what I mean? Just
Hollywood, Houston Astros.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and there's all kinds of shirts. I was telling Ryan, there's ones with the Astros logo, the star with the H that say "Hate Us." You know what I mean?
I've seen ones that say "Steal it back."
Personally, as an Astros
baseball.
fan, it's great for baseball. Like you said, there's no such thing as bad press.
True.
I feel like Astros games are going to be few. Like the tickets are going to be few and far between this year. Yeah. Like every game is going to be, sellout games and like
so.
for ridiculous shit.
I think
games,
there'll be so much support now. Like a lot of
because
the
as Houston fans and as a Houston community, we know what they have. We know, you know what I mean? Like we know that like that wasn't a competitive advantage in any way, and they were just martyred and chastised because of that.
That's fine,
and that's fine. And I like the whole like let's just turn heel and fuck them. You know what I mean? Let's just
the New England Patriots the year after Spygate. And they got a bunch of draft picks taken away. Belichick got suspended. They came back and beat the living crap out of everyone en route to a Super Bowl championship. And that's what I want to see from the Astros.
That's what I want to see, too. I want to see us come back in 2020, pull the championship out, and then and then do it again in 2021. And prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that we are a championship team and we deserve the title.
So if that happens, do you think it starts to die off then? All the hate? Will that quiet, will that kind of change how, we're viewed right now?
I think that as soon as baseball season starts, I think that if the Astros if the Astros rise to the top of their division fast enough, like all of that stuff goes away.
Oh, you think so?
Give
me some line in, please, sir. I think this is how they should introduce the Astros.
And up to bat,
Jose
Altuve!
Dude,
if he comes out doing the guitar on his bat,
if
I'm
Altuve
done, man.
and Springer
I'm done,
fucking
dude.
pick this as their fucking and start wearing like NWO, oh my god, that would be fucking
That would be
great.
sunglasses, bandana,
Oh,
the whole bit.
yeah,
oh
for
god,
sure.
that'd be fantastic.
This is the NWO theme song,
Yes.
by the way, from WWF.
No, WCW, sir.
WCW, sorry.
New World Order. I forgot about that.
Oh, that's
right, that's enough
fantastic.
of
Yeah. Well, you're in control of the fucking level. You can just shut me out whenever you want, baby.
I do it all the time.
But no, that'd be great if they come out with that.
That would be fucking, you know what? That's what I'm saying. Like, we should just own it and just be like, you know what? Like, it is what it is. It's over. It's in the past. Like, let us win this shit again.
I agree with you 100%. What did y'all think about the apologies? Some of the players have actually apologized.
I saw the press conferences and they were called like chicken shit apologies and like thanks for apologizing but not really apologizing, and like they called them disingenuous, things like that. Honestly, like I don't think they should have apologized for anything.
I agree,
and I think that like being up there just in general. Like that's you can pick it apart however you want. Oh, you're disingenuous. Yeah, you're going to be disingenuous. They had nothing to apologize for.
People were going to hate no matter what.
Yeah,
exactly.
It could have been the greatest apology ever, and they still would have gotten back.
No, honestly, I think that if they didn't do this fucking scripted apology, it would have been a lot better if they just shut up and not even do that scripted apology.
They're baseball players. They're not fucking
exactly.
You know what I mean? They're
Get
not
your PR guy up there and fucking do it, or lady, and apologize.
Jim
on behalf
Crane
of
already made a fucking statement. We already released a statement as an organization and said, like, this is what it is. Like, the people in charge have been reprimanded. These people have been removed from the organization. We're trying to move forward. Blah, 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 which was the correct thing to do. I think that Jim Crane's reaction time was impeccable. I mean, it was like that's what exactly needed to happen to know, so that people know that the Astros were serious about, that this was not something that the organization as a whole was supporting.
Right. But think about it, man. Would it mean more if you just went up there with no fucking script and then just do some fucking body language? Like, listen, guys. Okay, not necessarily we effed up, but like we as an organization apologize, and not just kind of seem so stiff and fucking like fake. It looked so fake, and I could see why that agitated more of the players.
I wanted Bregman to do like a fucking Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man thing, and just start doing the script and be like, you know what, fuck y'all, and just like mic drop and walk off. You know what I mean? Like come and get us in 2020 and just walk off. You know what I mean? I think that would have been like, to me, like at that point, it's like, why?
I just wish they hadn't said anything.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I think that something needed to be said. People were pushing them too hard for them to be quiet.
But why the players? You let Crane say it. Let, like you were saying, PR guy.
Yeah, that's true.
So just leave it there.
You don't
go out and play.
Yeah, I mean, you don't put like the guys that can barely speak English up there trying to apologize and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's
I like Altuve, though. He said what he said, but then he was like, guaranteed, rest assured we're going to be back in the World Series hunt in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
I like that.
Give me a beer, please.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is like this next year, like it's going to be it's just going to make the entire team so hungry to prove that they have the talent.
If they don't get fucking injured, because how many dingers are they going to get?
Oh, yeah. At? Well, that was the whole, and that's another thing we didn't talk about is the retaliation. It's
going to happen.
You know what I mean? They're going to be, they're going to be retaliated against. And you know what? I hope that we see some fucking.
There's going to be a lot of brawls.
Oh, I hope that
Nolan Ryan.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I hope we see some fucking Nolan Ryan fucking brawls and shit. You know what I mean? But like with us on the
winning side,
on the winning side,
we're the Nolan Ryan.
Yeah. Verlander.
I think that if you get a fucking couple of I think that if you get a couple of balls thrown at you, like a fucking bat slipping your grip as you're taking a swing at the home, at the mound, that'll happen too.
If you're away, just throw the fucking bat into the crowd.
No.
Well, no, that 20. You can't do that anymore because they put 2020 the nets go all the way to the foul pole.
You just gotta try a little harder. You just gotta try a little
harder. You've been to Top Golf. I've hit it over the net.
Oh man!
I mean, it's going to make them hungry. I think that there will be some retaliation, but I think the fact that it was brought to the league's attention right off the bat, I think that each individual team can say, "Look, even if you accidentally hit one of these guys, if they can link you to a loss to them in 2017 in any kind of way." You will be like fined. The commission will come down on you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the league will come down on you and be like, this is a retaliation because they've already said like there'll be a zero tolerance policy against any kind of retaliation. And that's always been the league's policy.
Yeah.
So
people are going to get ejected.
I think that any good field manager is going to sit down with his pitching staff and be like, throw at him. But if you hit him, like you're going to be ejected, and you're going to be fined, and we're not going to cover for you.
Of course,
I 100% agree. I think that, but then also just if you being one of our guys, we're going to go after your number 3 hitter, your number 4 hitter. We're going to go after someone that is important to your team.
Oh, it's going to be fucking.
Every team's going to have to think about it. So I think. Initially, at the beginning of the season, someone may, just to be cute, try to do something to make a headline. Right. I don't think it's going to be an issue we have to deal with throughout the season.
I think that if Mike Fiers comes to town,
I think we play him tail end of the series. I forgot when we play him, but it's going to be fun.
I hope he pitches. I hope he pitches.
Won't put him. I mean, it'd be stupid to put him.
I think it would be. I think just they shouldn't, but they should. I don't want to see it.
I'm not worried about like what's going to happen on the field. I'm worried about like the tarnishment of our city. What's going to happen when some stupid fuck like confronts him at a bar or at a hotel?
He shouldn't go out if he comes to town.
Not in Houston. No,
he cannot show his face.
Death threats.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that are getting death threats.
Our guys, Josh Reddick said he's gotten death threats. It's like. What is people's problem?
Josh Reddick with the Goku fucking undershirt. That's fucking sick, man. I love that guy.
And his bald eagle Speedo that he wore after that. Only
man.
Josh Reddick.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, Houston fans are. I love Houston fans because of their convictions, but I also hate Houston fans because of their convictions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, at least for the most part, like. Most Houston Astros fans will tell you that are true fans will tell you that like win, lose or whatever, controversy or not, like I'm an Astros fan. I've been an Astros fan. I was an Astros fan when they were losing. I'm an Astros fan when they're winning. Like that's my sport. That's my team.
Right,
you know what I mean? Kind of like Cowboys fans, but without but not
the
not without the douchebagginess. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We have a cooler star.
Yeah, we do.
You know
what I mean? We're not ballsy enough to call ourselves America's team and shit
that's
like
true.
that. You know what I mean? That's pretty fucking ballsy.
But they also have a Jerry Jones.
That's true.
I mean, there's no comparison to Jim Crane.
Jerry Jones, man. Let's put
Jerry Jones.
Let's put TVs in the middle of the field that you can actually hit if you kick the ball hard. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying that Jerry Jones would do a fucking line off some stripper's ass,
in the middle of the field.
Yes, exactly.
At halftime, at the coin flip.
Speaking of which, do you think Altuve stole Aaron Judge's MVP?
Because of the cheating? Or
no.
what do you mean?
Well, people are saying that he stole because of the cheating. Yeah, he stole his MVP. Which,
dude, fuck that. That's stupid. Altuve had a fucking way better season than Aaron Judge
didn't do much in the fucking postseason against the Astros.
Well, the decision had already been made.
I know that before then. But I'm just saying, like, I'm talking about the type of player.
Look, Altuve won batting titles before 17. He's been a stud since 17.
Better average on the road,
right? He's gotten. He increased his pop. He's hit more home runs. As he's gone. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I really don't. I just think he's that damn good.
He is. And honestly, like, in 2017 we had a great team, and we've kind of split up some of those. Some of those players we've had to lose because just of contract negotiations and things like that, which really sucks. Which I think that, like, is it this year or next year that, like, this is the last year that we're going to keep, like, the core group together of, like Springer and Correa and Altuve.
I think it's like 2 years, I think, before they still have to pay.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the whole thing is, like, that's why we didn't keep Cole. I mean, we couldn't afford him. Number one, and there was other players that we were at risk of losing. We were at risk of losing Reddick this year, but we didn't.
Reddick is disposable, though.
I feel like Reddick, morale-wise, is not disposable.
Okay, no, I guess you're right.
I love Reddick.
Yeah,
I really do.
I do too.
But I agree. His performance on the field.
No. On the field, on defensively,
he's a good defender.
He's fucking great.
He's a very good defender.
Put him in the bottom four. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, he defensively,
he's good for chemistry. I get it. Yeah,
yeah. Defensively, that guy is fucking fired. You know what I mean? Like, he's just so cocky when he's in the. You're like, you hit a ball and you're like, Reddick's already there. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he throws it back. He's like, shoulder shrug. What up?
Yeah.
Whatever. You know what I mean? It's funny that. You get that kind of reaction from Reddick. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. But yeah, I mean, the Astros going into 2020 definitely just like 2017. Like, we have a chip on our shoulder. We have something to prove, but we have something different to prove. So like how going forward. Moving forward past this, not as a community of fans, because we already know, like, I think that we should just turn heel and embrace this shit, whatever. I think you just embrace it and move on. But, going into 2020, like, how do you guys feel like we're going to do? What are our chances that we're going?
I like our odds.
We're going to be up there, man. I really do. Assuming the pitching's good, we've got Verlander. Without Cole now, it's kind of like I hope McCullers comes back.
What about Greinke? Was that the one and done? That's it, or what?
No,
he's still here.
Yeah,
but I think that he needs a little bit more refinement, and I think that he's hopefully in this offseason and preseason, like. He's going to get that.
And who's that pitcher that we picked up? That pitched in Game 5, I think. Oh man, he was fucking unstoppable from Mexico.
Shit.
We got him.
His name now.
Yeah, I know.
I don't start reading Astros news and, like, really paying attention until, like, 4 games into preseason.
I can picture him, but you're right.
After my birthday, that's when I start paying attention. Yeah, I know who you're talking about, because the lineup's not solidified until late March, early April. You know what I mean?
Well, and like McCullers is coming back. Hopefully, so if he gives us 75% of what Cole gave us this last year,
and I think
we'll be okay.
He's been on an upward trend the last couple of years. So, I mean,
if he's healthy, if he's healthy,
which is what I worry about. Like, which I worry about Verlander. Like, Verlander's getting up there. I mean, he's 37,
both. Yeah.
37, 38.
He's banging Kate Upton. He's fine. He's seen the fappening.
Yeah. Hey man, loyal Tesla owners. So we like people that drive Teslas.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did go buy a Tesla, huh?
Yep, 2 of them.
Yeah.
When she got pregnant, I believe that she got she traded in her Model S and got a Model X.
Oh,
so
that's what rich people do. I think.
That's what they do. Yeah, Drew Brees also.
Oh, nice.
Tesla owner.
So I'm going to assume neither of y'all thinks the Astros title should be taken away.
No, I don't think that should happen at all.
You can't. I mean, you got to take everyone else's title.
If it was another team that had done this,
no,
you would. Even if it cost the Astros.
I mean, think about it. Yeah, it did cost the Astros because we lost against the Red Sox, who were potentially cheating that year. If they, I mean, yeah, it sucks, but I mean, we lost against them. We got our asses beat.
Yeah.
Say we had one in 17. So we didn't win a title in 17, but then you found out the Red Sox cheated us.
Fair point.
In 18. Would you be like, screw them? They should have the title taken away.
I'd be pissed about it, but I don't think I would demand their title to be taken away.
Me either.
I think that like the because of the way that the cheating.
Baseball's a cheating sport. It's unwritten law. It is what it is. 1919 World Series against White Sox and the Reds.
Right. I mean, they find people
all the way back like a fucking 100 years ago.
I mean, you watch
Quartz bats, doctored balls. There's
pine tar on the underside of the brim of the hat.
Right.
Pine tar's fine though. Look at Biggio.
It's not. They throw for batting. It is.
Yeah, for batting. Yeah.
I'm talking about
pitching.
pitchers.
No, you can't do it. For pitching, no.
Like they throw pitchers out for that all the time. Still,
sure, scuffing the balls. Yeah.
But I mean,
scuffing balls.
Is it fair for a batter to use pine tar when everybody else is using fucking gloves and shit? I mean, I guess Biggio did use gloves still, right? But it's just more grip on the bat. Is that fair?
It's a different kind of grip. It's not more grip. It's a different kind of grip. Because you can use pine tar.
I know.
It's not illegal to use pine tar, even with gloves, without gloves. Some people use no gloves. Who's our catcher? Not McCann. Gaddis bats.
Yeah, the lumberjack.
Yeah,
he was great.
That guy bats.
Old school, man.
I don't know.
Pads,
does he put your beard to shame?
He does, dude. Evan Gaddis has a fucking beard. Like he's definitely up there. I mean, it's. I mean, you have different guys like that come in and kind of mix things up. Do things a little differently. But baseball is all about like what works for each individual player. You know what I mean? Like Evan Gaddis, obviously, like he bats. Barehanded, pine tar, old school, scuffed bats. Let's go. And then you have, other guys that are batting, like Gurriel. You're going to have, elbow protectors, fucking face protector like Springer wears. And, you're going to have wrist guard, wrist supports and bat
fucking
grips.
Correa, jaw.
I mean, and just, all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? All that stuff exists. And it's not illegal, but it's still a competitive advantage. It's not sign stealing, but I mean, you're always going to find that little bit to give you the competitive advantage. You know what I mean? Like any pitcher is going to try to find a way to scuff a ball to make it spin a certain way that's not detectable by the umpire. You know what I mean? Whether it's it wouldn't surprise me, pitchers when they've got the ball in their gloves, if they're scratching the strings a certain way as they're going to grip it, you know what I mean, so that it spins a certain way. It's all whatever you're going to find.
It's a cheating sport.
Every sport is a cheating sport. It's just a matter of how much you're cheating and how much you get caught.
Okay, out of the three major sports, where would you rank baseball?
Cheats the most. Okay. But what I'm saying is that that's just, as a baseball fan, are you okay with that being the legacy of baseball?
I think it's just part of the game. Look at A-Rod.
It's been that way 100 years.
A-Rod's fine. A-Rod's probably going to be a Hall. Is he a Hall of Famer yet? He's going to be a Hall.
He will be one.
You think he will be?
Yeah,
he has to.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens in the Hall of Fame. And McGuire's not. Sosa's not. I mean, all the guys that were nailed for steroids.
I guess you're right.
Not in the Hall.
That'll change.
I think eventually.
After the Astros fucking cheated, it's going to
change. So actually, that's one of the questions I have. I've heard some people say this is the worst scandal that MLB has ever faced.
Disagree.
Okay, so here's my thing. It's fresh right now, right? We're all kind of processing this. Everyone is. 10 years from now, are people still going to say the same thing?
This is up there with the Black Sox scandal.
Really?
I think it is.
So?
I really do think it is. It's going to be talked about as the number 2 probably, behind the
No.
Black Sox again. Absolutely.
I think this will be number 3.
This is Astros. I hate to say it, 9-11. This is the fucking.
No,
Astros.
I disagree.
No, okay. Well, we'll see.
Why do you? What's your number one behind
Look how much
this?
flack they're getting. They're being talked about way more than Deflategate, Spygate.
Dude, that's only.
They're getting basketball players talking about MLB.
Who cares? I mean, that's only for the past 2 months. That shit's gonna be forgotten. What I'm saying is that. What I'm saying is, like, what are the worst scandals?
In 30 years, when you Wikipedia the Astros, I guarantee you that's going to be on the Wikipedia page.
But that's not if you Google baseball scandals, it's not going to be number 1.
It won't be number 1, but it'll be up there.
I'm not saying it won't be. I'm saying it'll be number 3.
Okay, that's fair.
You know what's
number
crazy,
1,
dude?
Number 1's going to be steroids. Number 2 is going to be Pete Rose, and number 3 is going to be the Astros.
I truly feel like winning cures all.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And like we talked about before, I think if the Astros somehow win another World Series in this window of theirs, I really think that's going to change how people perceive it. Think about, and I hate to speak ill of the dead, but Kobe Bryant, after the whole Colorado rape case thing, his reputation could not be worse. Yeah. He was losing endorsers left and right. His legacy was in jeopardy, just like this Astros team is. But then what happened? He won 2 world titles.
To me, his legacy is still tainted.
To some people, it is. To some people, it is. But think about. I'm just saying. Look at what happened when he died. It was considered a tragedy.
Oh, everybody forgets that he's a fucking rapist and he's just a fucking and all of a sudden he's this super martyr. Like, I don't know. I don't agree with anything that happened with Kobe Bryant.
And that's fair. That's fine. But even you have to acknowledge that when he died, people were sad. People were really bummed out.
Came out. The same thing with Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? When people die, people forget. The public seems to forget about all these things that, that were controversial about their life, and they're like, well, for the most part, even if it's 55%, 55% of the time they were pretty good. So, we'll forget about the other shit. I mean, Kobe was a fucking wife-beating rapist. Whatever. That's cool. Like, he played basketball real well.
But was he ever convicted? I thought they said
he wasn't. He wasn't.
Who gives a fuck if he was convicted or
there
not?
There was some compelling evidence.
There was a lot of compelling evidence that was true. Okay. Settling out of court is an admission of guilt in my mind.
Okay. No.
Sorry. Like, if you're not guilty, take that shit to court. Prove me wrong.
Okay.
That's the way I feel about it. Michael Jackson the same way. Right. He paid off so many people in perpetuity. Pedophile. All these pedophile cases. I respect the man's music.
Let's call a spade, though. We know the power of a lady's mouth, and they can falsify things. I'm not saying that's what happened, but when you're at a different tier in popularity, financially, and everything, and you're not willing to sacrifice that, and you want to settle something out of court, that's possible too. I'm not saying that's what Kobe
I know you're playing
did,
the devil's advocate, but
you know what I mean?
But think of the man. Think of the man at that point, because this is the same guy that refused to play on the same team as Shaquille O'Neal because he was that cocky and arrogant. In my mind, Kobe Bryant was a piece of shit as a human being, and I don't think that he should have been martyred as much as he was.
Okay. All right. So sorry I brought that up. Let me give y'all.
Let me get. Everybody just seems to forget that
that's fine.
As a human being, he was just a piece of shit,
dude.
Jesus, more passionate than any of the other shit we talked about tonight. Bring a Kobe. No. But okay, let me bring up the Patriots. I already brought them up after Spygate. They came out, won the championship, Super Bowl. Nobody. I don't feel like anyone looks down on the Patriots anymore. No one says, they did that Spygate thing and that tainted everything. Well, no, because they've won multiple championships since then.
I still look at them as Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are always going to try to get the competitive advantage, and I think you need to keep your eye on them.
If Tom Brady wanted to come to Houston, would you be okay with that?
Over Watson?
Nah. Okay, with the Belichick partner. Belichick and Tom Brady.
If you bring Belichick and Watson, you bring Belichick and Brady to Houston,
would you be okay with that? Would you be like, yes?
If it gets us a championship, I'll be okay.
Okay, so so you quickly forgot about the Spygate, Deflategate.
All right, fine.
That
was good.
I don't hate the Patriots.
Like Russell Westbrook. I didn't like Russell Westbrook at all.
There's a lot of
Rocket. Yeah.
There's a lot of people that fucking hate the Patriots just because they're the Patriots, just because they are the modern day football dynasty. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that they've won so many fucking championships, controversy or not. Yeah. You watch them play, and they're just fucking good. Right. You can't fake some of the passes and lines and plays that they come up with and that they do that nobody else does better than them. It's incontrovertible. You know what I mean? Like you can't argue against that. I mean, now on the other hand, like there's been some shit where they've tried to like fuck over the other team, but I mean, for the most part, like the talent, like the same thing with the Astros, the talent's there. The Patriots are just so good, you just want to hate them. Right, you know what I mean? Like,
so going back to the Kobe thing,
please stop bringing up Kobe.
Are you a fan of Louis C.K.?
Not really. I mean, kinda, but I mean,
but you're okay with giving him a little pass here.
Not after. I won't listen. Not after all the bullshit that I heard about it. I mean, I'm sorry. Like I'm not like
trying to,
No, I get where you're going with that. You know what I mean? Like, but he didn't rape anybody. Like, he just pulled his dick out in front of a couple of women.
And jerk off over the phone.
Yeah.
Who hasn't done that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's
I could do that right now. 1-800 blow me, and I could jerk off over the phone right now.
Don't threaten me with a good time. All I'm saying is that, like, the Louis C.K. thing, like, he's just a piece of shit as a human being. Like, if you listen to his comedy, like, as a human being, he's not that great of a guy. Like, I mean, that's why he got divorced. That's what I mean. It's just the type of person he is. Is he funny? Yes. Is Kobe a good basketball player? Yes. If Louis C.K. died in a fucking helicopter crash tomorrow, would he be martyred like Kobe Bryant was? No. The answer is no.
Well, but he wasn't. He's not known on the same scale.
Yeah,
now we're talking about scale.
Well,
here,
this. You know what my biggest problem with the martyrdom of Kobe Bryant was, and I think it's a sad tragedy that happened. Don't get me wrong, but I think that it was blown way out of proportion when people were comparing him, like that. When all of a sudden when he died, people were comparing him to being bigger than Michael Jordan and having more of a cultural impact than Michael Jordan, like that, just because he died tragically. I'm sorry, like I completely disagree with that. Like that right there alone taints Michael Jordan's legacy, because like, what do you do as Michael Jordan from there? Like, where do you go? Will you come back to basketball? No, I mean, he's fucking 60 years old. You know what I mean? Like, Michael Jordan has done so many more things and done them better and cleaner than Kobe ever did. And then all of a sudden, because he died tragically.
Who knows? Right? I mean, okay.
There's been a couple of controversies around Michael Jordan.
It was a cultural shock when Kobe died. Same thing
and that's what happened. It was
Michael,
a cultural
Michael
shock.
Jackson, same thing. But I think more people are associated more with basketball, because you can just go out to a park and play basketball, and you'll be in the office, wall up a paper, and be like, Kobe. Everybody had that association with Kobe. So when you saw it on the news, oh fuck, he died, right? So I think that's why people were more
here's the question. Here's the question I have for you. If that was
no, go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
You want a Miller? That's the only thing unopened.
You don't mind, do you?
No, dude, man.
If that had been Michael Jordan on that helicopter, would it have been a bigger deal or less of a big deal?
I think it would have been just same level, if not more.
I think it would have been more.
Yeah.
Which tells me right off the bat that Kobe is not at that level. And I think that it's disrespectful to compare him to Michael Jordan. I think that's what pisses me off the most.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay. Well,
That's where I'm at, because honestly,
I'm not a big fan of MJ just because he had a badass team around him. And, people throw it in my face, well, the reason why the Rockets won the fucking championship was because
that is 100% factual.
No, that's not factual. No, because
actually, Jordan was playing in the league during our second title.
Exactly.
They got eliminated by the Magic. A lot of people conveniently forget that.
I do conveniently forget that because I don't watch basketball, but I do like to rub that in Jake's face because I don't care that much about basketball.
Honestly, it's one of the things that kills me more about the Astros is that the city of Houston has essentially 3 titles, right? Yeah, the 2 Rockets titles and the Astros title. Well, a lot of people consider the Rockets titles tainted because of what we were just talking about. Because Jordan either wasn't in the league or wasn't back to his full powers because he'd been playing baseball, right? So those were tainted. And now the Astros title is completely tainted because of this. So it's like the city of Houston cannot just have one uncontested championship, major championship.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a good point, man.
That's
now
what,
you just
It's
pissed
just
me off
such
a
a
little
bummer.
bit more.
I'm sorry, man. It's
God
just
damn it! I
it's
forgot
killing
about
me,
that.
man.
Actually, it's so valid on so many levels,
he
man.
does that. You'll
Yeah.
get used to it. After a couple of years, you'll get used to it. I mean, that's a valid point. I mean, so like, I think that's what the city of Houston is. That's what we most associate our championships with, unfortunately, or most other people associate our championships with, is some kind of uncontested championship, which we don't have in a lot of people's minds. You know what I mean? Like, because of the Jordan being, out 2 years, and the Rockets winning the championship, and now this for the Astros championship, I think that, like, Houston is a city of underdogs, and we pride ourselves on being the city of underdogs. And then 1 year that we have a championship that we know that we had the talent to back it up. We didn't need to cheat, and it still happened, and now it's tainted. Like, as a Houston fan, it just makes you mad. But you know what? It makes me mad. It makes me mad, but it really makes me want to, like, it makes me want the team to, like, really dig deep and win, like, 2 championships in a row back to back. You know what I mean?
They can.
And I mean, we have the talent to do it. We just have to, bear down, focus, and get it done. I don't know that we have the management to do it. We'll see, like, how our...
Who's that that Braves player that said that we all need a beatdown?
Oh, Malakis?
Yeah, Malakis.
Yeah.
Man.
Fuck that guy.
You know what's hilarious is that fucking what Dusty Baker said. Like, who? I'm like, what did he say? Like, he doesn't ever talk, and now he's talking. I just love what fucking Dusty Baker
Dusty
said.
Baker, I'm liking him more and more as every day goes on.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be great, man.
Yeah,
I think he's like a Hinch, because that's what that's what this team needs. They need a manager of egos and personalities, and Dusty Baker, I'm hoping, is kind of a similar guy.
Yeah.
We don't need
easy
a
to
yes
get along
man.
with. I'm not saying a yes man, but I'm saying a guy who's good at managing egos.
No. I said we don't need that. We don't need somebody that comes out and is like, apologizes for everything. Oh, like, we're going to try to appease everybody. Yeah. I think we need somebody. I think honestly we need somebody that's going to come out, lay the Astro dick on the table, and be like, "This is what it is."
That's what
and
Dusty's
we're going to fucking
do.
win the fucking championship.
Yeah, Dusty's all like
it's in the fucking past. I wasn't here, and we're going to fucking do this.
He said himself, "I'm not commenting on that. I'm done talking about that. We're talking about the future now."
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah.
Like, why are we still talking about it?
Exactly.
We're still talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. It was good. I like it.
So Ryan, I love Ryan to death. Ryan's.
I love you too.
He's one of my best friends. He's probably my best friend in the whole world. And he does, whenever I ask him to come on here, he does research and shit. Probably while he should be actually working at work. And then
I was thinking the same thing, man. You have to prep that shit at work, man, because I know your life's busy at home. With Dexter season 4,
I'm too cheap to print out shit on colored, paper in my house.
I was looking at
28-pound paper and shit. It's all nice.
I was looking at that. And I was like, "There's no way he printed that at home." Do you even have a printer at home?
Nope.
I like it, man.
What else do you got that we haven't covered? Have we
No,
hit
that's
all
pretty
your,
much it.
All your hot spots?
No, y'all were talking about quotes and stuff. So but yeah, the Markakis thing was hilarious.
Yeah.
They deserve a beating. It's like, are you serious?
Yeah.
There's get the fuck out of here. I mean, it's fucking baseball, man. There's no crying in baseball.
Yeah.
All these motherfuckers are crying.
No crying in baseball.
Fucking crying because they didn't get a fucking championship and
Like
the Astros figured out how.
Man, he's the worst.
Dude, there's so many people that
Mike Trout, I mean, he wants to say a lot more, but he has like personal relationships with some of this crew.
How can you not like Trout?
Exactly.
Like he said something, but it wasn't.
He said, "I disagree with it," and sure, I disagree with it too. But he also said that some of the people from the clubhouse called me and seeked advice and stuff like that. He did not. He said, "I'm not going to say any names," but he feels bad for what what we went through.
That's fine. You can feel bad. You just don't.
Like I say, like Mike Trout he's more in the middle, but like what's his name, Bellinger from fucking. He's the one that's fucking drilling us the most, man.
Bellinger said, "Everyone knows they stole the ring from us. Everyone knows it."
Stats.
And then Correa comes back and says, "Cody didn't have a good World Series." For him,
I like Correa's defense.
For him to be talking about us stealing that championship, don't talk about it. You should have done something about it. Oh, God,
Nice.
that's cold-blooded. I love that from Korea.
Yeah, I mean, people, they stole that. That's just some salty crybaby bullshit.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I said, there's no crying in baseball. You don't fucking cry over that bullshit. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. We're shooting ourselves in the foot because we got the cheating scandal. Then I forgot about the Dodgers when what Yu Darvish was pitching and
when Gurriel did
Gurriel did the fucking
that was fucked up. I mean, honestly, that probably
God
happens a
damn it.
lot more than we think. But I mean, he got caught. He got caught on camera doing it. I mean. And now, I mean,
I just wanted to live in a world where that was the biggest controversy from the 2017 Astros World Series run, you know?
And I mean, everybody's apologizing for Gurriel. Well, you know, and he's a Chino, you know, he's in Cuba. That's what they call. Okay, yeah, apologize for him a little bit more. He's an American now.
It's a different world down there.
It is. So. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, it's so. Jerry Springer, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. We're gonna take it.
Steal it back.
So you're right. If we win, it's all gonna be fucking in thin air. It's gonna be great, right? But if we fucking tank and we disband as a fucking team,
that would be bad.
This scandal is gonna be long lived.
Yeah, we won't recover for
it's gonna be long-lived.
5 years.
Yeah. Say more, man. To be honest with you.
I was gonna say 10, but I didn't want to jinx it.
You don't put that bad juju
Knock
on it. Yeah.
Don't. They'll be quoting this shit on fucking ESPN. Be like, this fucking Houston podcast said if they're gonna tank for 10 years if they don't win it in 2020.
Yeah, but there's also 20 beers on the table, empty
There's
cans.
not 20. There might be 20 beers on the table.
No, maybe not.
Yeah. There's
baseball.
Okay, there's 14.
It's cheating. It's a cheating sport. You just got to live with it.
It is. I agree.
So, fuck it.
Ryan, final thoughts.
No, I agree. Just win, baby.
Just win.
They shouldn't have done it, right? It sucks because they really shouldn't have, and it's terrible because they didn't need to. But having said that, still got a great team. Just win. Silence the critics.
So, I hate to circle this back and ask another question before I do my final thought, but do you think it's better as a Houston community, as a Houston Astros fan, and as a Houston Astros fan community, is it preferable to turn heel or to try to take the high road? And is it preferable to just turn heel, or is it better to take the high road and be like, we can be better than this, we can and try to. Okay, so Jake's all in for turning heel, apparently. So
I got the shoulders bobbing. I'm with you, man. I agree. Let's do it.
Fair enough.
Because they're not going to let you forget. If you try to take the high road, the other 29 teams or whatever it is, they will not let you forget. You might as well lean into it. Might as well.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of Game of Thrones. There's a quote in Game of Thrones. Tyrion Lannister says to Jon Snow in episode 1 or 2. He calls him the bastard of Winterfell.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Well, you're the dwarf of Casterly Rock." And he said, "Yeah." And then he says he keeps calling him the bastard of Winterfell all the time. He goes, "You might as well embrace it. Nobody's gonna forget it. You might as well not. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna forget that you're the bastard of Winterfell. You might as well just embrace it and roll with it. You know what I mean? Because." And Tyrion, and I mean Tyrion knows because nobody's ever gonna let him forget that he's a dwarf. So I mean, and so final thoughts for me as a Houston fan, I think in general, I think the Astros need to just grit their teeth, bear it, try to do as best as they can coming through into this team, into the 2020 season. We just need to win it all. I mean, like in Major League, the movie, Tom Berenger says, "Well, there's only one thing to do now:
win
the whole fucking
thing." There you go.
Yeah, I agree.
I went PG. You went straight to R.
This is a semi PG-13.
Oh no, this is R.
We got to turn heel, baby.
Just turn heel.
Just turn heel and just.
It's like Ryan Davidson said, it's fun to be the heel. You know what I mean? He's
for life.
That's I mean. All the favorite wrestling characters are the heels, you know what I mean? The Rock, Stone Cold, I mean, they're all the bad guys, you know what I mean? So I think Houston embraces that, and we just roll with it, baby.
Fucking Razor Ramon and shit.
Razor.
Good to be the bad guy. So on that note,
yeah, I've been Rob.
I'm Jake.
I'm Ryan.
And we will catch you on the next one. For life.